Hi seniors, it's day 8, unit 4. We're looking at inflation today. The Do Now has a couple of review exercises. You can find the key for those exercises on Schoology. So today, how do I calculate CPI and inflation? We're going to calculate consumer price index and we're going to calculate inflation rate when given a data set. We'll have an assessment on Friday, April 26th. And the first 4 terms we'll look at today. We'll save 5 and 6 for tomorrow. Big picture, we're looking at economic indicators. We've done GDP and unemployment to test to see if the economy is healthy. The last one we're doing here is inflation. So what is inflation? Inflation is the rise in the general price level as measured by the CPI. If the price of one item goes up, that's not inflation. But if the price of a lot of things go up from one year to the next, then that is inflation. Deflation is just the opposite. It's a decrease in the price level. So we measure it using CPI, and the CPI is the index for a market basket of consumer goods and services. That market basket are commonly purchased things. Think about what you bought last week and you're going to buy again next week or the week after. Those are your commonly purchased household items. That's what the government is tracking. They're tracking the price of those things and to see if the price goes up or goes down over time. And that's how we measure inflation in the U.S. And that market basket evolves. Things that were popular at one time are no longer popular anymore, like cassette recorders and 35mm film. Today we're probably going to have smartphones in there. And so how do we calculate CPI? You're going to be given a scenario that looks like this. You're going to have a market basket that has some commonly purchased items, and you're going to have a few different years up on top. And this is the price of that good in each particular year. Sometimes the price goes down, sometimes the price goes up. But we want to find, on average, does the price go up or go down? So the first thing we do is we calculate the price of that basket, and we simply add the numbers together to get the price. Then we use this formula to calculate the CPI. The price of the basket in the year you want to find. So if we want to find year B, we're going to take the price of the market basket in year B divided by the market basket in our base year. Our base year is our starting point, and that's always going to be given to you. So here it's year A, and so this number is always in our denominator. And so the CPI for year B is 605 divided by 550 times 100, and we get 110. For year C, we're going to take 633 divided by our base year, 550, times 100, and we get 115. Pause the video, do these problems, calculate the price of the basket, and then calculate CPI. Resume the video and see if you got them correct. Alright, so how'd you do? Did you get these answers for the market basket? And then these numbers for the CPI. Remember, CPI is always rounded to the nearest whole number. So now that we have CPI, now we can calculate inflation. Inflation will be that change from one year to the next. So how much did prices rise from year A to year B, or year B to year C? We can do that using a new formula. And so that is going to be this formula. You've seen this formula before. This is the growth rate formula that we use for GDP. It works the same way for inflation. We take the new minus the old divided by the old times 100. In this case, we're taking year 2 CPI, the new CPI, or most recent CPI, divided by our old one, divided by our old one. And so we simply plug in those numbers. For year B, we have the CPI of 110 minus 100 divided by 100, and that's times 100, and we get 10%. For year C, we take 115 minus 110 divided by 110 times 100, and you get 4.5%. Notice that we're not using the base year for all of them. We only use the base year when we're calculating CPI. When we're calculating inflation, we use the year previous. And so go back to the exercises that you just did. Calculate the inflation rate using year A as your base year. Calculate for B, C, D, and E. Round to the nearest decimal. Alright, let's see how you did. Couple things to note here. If the price of our basket goes up, our CPI should go up. But just because our CPI goes up doesn't mean that our inflation is always going to go up as well. Notice we went up from 107 to 108, but our inflation went down to 0.9. That's still inflation. It's still positive, but it just means that prices didn't go up as much as they did in the year past. And so if these numbers, CPI is going to go in the same direction as the market basket. It's only inflation that will fluctuate. And so what do these numbers mean? We'll look at that a little bit tomorrow. One more practice problem. Do the calculation. Check your answer. Here's our formula. And you should have gotten 11%. And one more problem. Pause the video. do the calculation. And how'd you do? Did you get, let's see, 1.3%? No, 12.5%. Letter B. All right. And some more opportunities to practice, pages 23 and 24 in the unit packet. Again, test on Friday. Test is Friday, not Thursday. And let me know of any questions. Good luck.